Welcome to Home Biz Tax Talk. My name is Lysandra Everett. I am the Home Biz Tax Lady, where I help home business owners win the tax game. Home Biz Tax Talk airs Monday through Friday, 9 o'clock-ish. And when you tune into my show, you're going to hear about topics that are important to the home business community. Okay, so today ain't necessarily a home business thing, but oh, the tea, okay? So Todd and Julie Chrisley of Chrisley's Knows Best has been indicted for tax evasion and multiple counts of fraud. And y'all, I am just so, this is personal because Todd Chrisley is my guilty pleasure, okay? I have admitted it. I love me some Chrisley Knows Best. But let's get down with it, right? Because one thing I always tell you guys about tax returns. Tax returns tell the truth. You either claimed something or you didn't. You either filed your taxes or you didn't. There's no, black and white. I mean, there's no gray. It's just black and white. And that's what makes tax cases so interesting, because that's what it is. And when the IRS comes for you, they don't come for you unless they're expecting to win, okay? So I've been reading all kinds of googobs of articles about what is going on with this case that we know so far. So they have been indicted on multiple counts of conspiracy, bank fraud, wire fraud, and tax evasion. And their accountant also has been indicted on some tax-related offenses. So let's go back and get some definitions so you understand what these things are, because a lot of times some of us do these same things, but we just don't get caught. Okay, let's be real. Okay, so first, conspiracy. Conspiracy is a plan between two or more people to do something illegal or harmful. Okay, that's the definition of conspiracy. The definition of bank fraud is a legal means to obtain money, assets, or property from a financial institution. This is when you go and fabricate your income to get a loan for a house. My self-employed people, yes, that is bank fraud. Somebody tried to test me on that. I was like, for real? Okay. Anywho, wire fraud is fraudulently obtaining money using electronic communications like email. Okay, so those are the things that they have been indicted on. And an indictment is a formal charge brought by a grand jury. So this just didn't come out of nowhere. Now, the Chrisleys are saying that this is because of some employee that was stealing from the family and they got fired. And so that's, they took the person to court, and they say that's when all the trouble started. They got this long post on Instagram proclaiming their innocence and everything. And it says, to get revenge, this is what he says in his post, to get revenge, this employee took a bunch of his phony documents to the U.S. Attorney's Office and told them we had committed all kinds of financial crimes like tax evasion and bank fraud. That got their attention, all right. But once we had a chance to explain who he was and what he'd done to us, they realized it was all a bunch of nonsense, and they sent him on his way. Well, evidently not, because they got these indictments, okay? Now, remember, I told y'all about being a whistleblower, right? There is a whistleblower program. Now, as a whistleblower, if the IRS is successful in getting tax money and penalties and interest and stuff back, whistleblowers get a percentage. So if the taxes, penalties, and interest exceed $2 million, then the whistleblower stands to gain 15 to 30% of what gets collected. And if it's less than $2 million, they can get up to 15% with a max of $10 million. So if this person is actually telling the truth and the government gets this money, guess what? That whistleblower is going to get paid, okay? So, yeah, that's the... okay, there's money all around here. Okay, so it says Todd and Julie Chrisley are not only charged with defrauding a number of banks by fraudulently obtaining millions of dollars in loans, but allegedly cheating taxpayers by actively evading paying federal taxes on money that they earned. Okay, so basically they're saying that Todd and Julie's hiding money, okay? Now, remember, I told you Tax evasion is illegal. Tax avoidance is not. And so the difference is with tax avoidance, you're saying, here's all the money I made and I'm putting it in these tax advantaged places, whether I'm deferring taxes or I'm using some tax-free stuff that's going on. That's tax avoidance. Tax evasion is when you hide money from the government so you don't have to pay taxes. This is underreporting income, intentionally and habitually underreporting income. Okay, so they also allegedly conspired to defraud numerous banks by providing the banks with false information, such as personal financial statements containing false information and fabricated bank statements when applying for and receiving millions of dollars in loans, which they supposedly use for their own benefit. Now, what I read on TMZ was that the federal government claims that Todd Chrisley emailed one of his partners for that partner to make it look like he had $4 million in a bank at a bank that he didn't even have an account at. Okay, that's just crazy. All right, I don't even know how you make an account show up at a bank that you don't bank in. That's okay. I don't know, but this is supposedly happening now between 2007 and 2012. No statute of limitations on fraud. How many times do you hear me say that? Okay. So, but this is the part that was funny to me. It says that Todd and Julie Chrisley used fabricated bank statements and a fabricated credit report that had been physically cut and taped or glued together when applying for and obtaining a lease for a home in California. You gonna cut and paste a credit report together? Okay, I can't even. All right, but now, then this is also what it says. Now, according to the Department of Justice, in February 2017, Todd Chrisley claimed on a national radio program that, this is the quote, obviously the federal government likes my tax returns because I pay $750,000 to $1 million just about every year, so the federal government doesn't have a problem with my taxes. Now, remember what I told you. If you've listened to my videos for any length of time, I told you government uses media. They use your social media too. So don't let your social media betray you. If you over here flashing all this cash, your new car, your new house, and you ain't paid no taxes, oh, the government will use your social media to build a case against you. It's already happened a couple of years ago to a really wealthy online marketer, okay? So I'm telling you, when y'all be sitting up here, making it rain and stuff, showing your money, taking your pictures with your cash, and you ain't paying no taxes, the government is saying, okay, well, you showed X amount of money here. Where are these taxes? Okay, so they do. They scour your media. They scour your social media. They listen to podcasts and stuff too. Don't think it's just, this is news because it's Todd Chrisley, but this happens to regular people too. Okay. Now, the thing that I didn't like, and it says the Chrisleys allegedly did not file timely income tax returns for 2014, 15, and 16, and they did not timely pay federal income taxes for any of those years. Now, did not timely file means they didn't file by the due date, or timely pay means that they did not pay by the due date, but that doesn't mean they didn't pay. So I'm interested to see how that little tidbit comes out. Let's see. It also says the Chrisleys and their accountant are accused of taking steps to obstruct IRS collection efforts, which included hiding income, lying to third parties about their tax returns. Okay, again, hiding income is illegal. Okay, and so what happens is, and I've seen this happen, and like I said, non-celebrity people do this too, where they're supposed to be paying back the IRS, and so instead of having money show up in their bank account, they try to put money in other people's bank accounts. They try to deal strictly in cash to avoid being detected. That does not work. Okay, it just simply does not work, because if they're investigating you, they're going to be watching your bank accounts. They're going to be watching your known associates' bank accounts. So they're going to be looking at your mama, your wife, your baby sister, all that. They're going to be looking at these things and say, okay, if mom is receiving Social Security, but there's a whole bunch of money in here for mom to just have Social Security. Where is this money coming from? Right? That's how this works. So, so now they're going to court. Okay, they will be going to court. The Chrisleys claim this is a setup. We shall see once this investigation is going to be, played out. And this is going to take some time. If you think back to, with Paul Manafort, Michael Cohen, those cases dragged on for a couple years before they were finally charged and sentenced. So this could go on for a while. But at the same time, they could be found guilty of none of this stuff. An indictment doesn't mean that they're guilty. They've got to go to court and be proven guilty just like anybody else. So they could be found guilty of none of it. They could be found guilty of some of it. They could be found guilty of all of it, right? That's going through the process. But even if, and these offenses, they come with jail time. Right? They do come with jail time. And even if you go to jail, your tax bill is still waiting. A similar case that happened not too long ago was the Real Housewives dude, Jaducci. Please forgive me for messing up that name, but y'all know who it is. But he and his wife were found guilty of some of this same stuff, and he is in the process of being deported if he has not been already. So these financial crimes, especially when it comes down to these celebrities, being in that public eye is going to make you more of a target anyway. And because there's another one, what's the boy's name from Jersey Shore? He went to jail for structuring and tax evasion as well. Him and his brother, as a matter of fact. So these cases are, like I said, they're in the news because these are famous people, but this is happening to regular people, non-celebrity people on the regular. It's just not in the news. And so people have this false sense of security that, the IRS isn't coming after little old me. Well, it doesn't take the IRS to come after little old you. All it takes is somebody that's ticked off enough to go to the IRS and say, I have evidence that so-and-so is not paying their taxes, they're hiding money and all of this. And if they've got credible evidence, then you're going to get busted. And so every time I share about one of these cases, there's always someone who comes back to me and says, okay, well, the government's not going to catch this. The government can't catch that. The government might be slow, but they're not stupid. And since there's no statute of limitations on fraud, they're not in a rush. Okay. So this is why I tell you, prepare all of your taxes and your claim all of your income. Do everything as if you knew you would be audited tomorrow. If you do that, then you won't have nothing to worry about. I can't tell you that you will never be audited. No one can ever tell you that. But what you can do is prepare yourself and, have all of your required documentation. Don't falsify records. Like, one of the things in the home business industry is that not necessarily home business, but self-employed as a whole, where people underclaim expenses in 1 year to basically beef up their profit to qualify for a loan, and then try to go back and amend those taxes to pay less and get that money back. That might not be a tax crime, but that's providing false information. That's mortgage fraud. It's bank fraud, right? Because you lied to get a loan. So you're not claiming expenses in, of over a couple of years to get a loan. That you're lying, right? So this is what just do what you're supposed to do. That's all I can say about that, And I know as self-employed individuals, and especially when it comes down to, us as a whole getting loans based on our self-employment income, it can be a difficult thing. It really can. But if you just, follow the rules and do what you're supposed to do, then you won't have one of these situations right here that's coming for you. Okay? So that's it for today's episode of Home Biz Tax Talk. Again, we air Monday through Friday, 9 o'clock ish, and you can come right here to get your questions answered about your home business taxes. All right, have a great day, and I will see you all next time. Bye.